gonna lie, the mood has been pretty sour this week here at the Star in Frisco, but the Cowboys are ready to put Sunday's loss to Green Bay behind them, and we're ready to tell you what you need to know about the next game, a road trip to Minnesota. Welcome into Cowboys Rewind. I'm your host, Haley Sutton. After Sunday's game, the team all shared similarities in how to improve moving forward, and the answer almost seemed unanimous: accountability. The leaders in the locker room were adamant about everyone taking responsibility, so that was the focus at practice this week.
The way you had played this season and in that game, was it uncharacteristic, or were you a little surprised at how that fourth quarter unfolded yesterday?
In what way, David? What specific?
Just, I mean, normally when you have that sort of lead, it's not the sort of thing. I mean,
yeah.
The way the defense has played all year and what the offense has done.
Definitely. I mean, you got we talked about putting games away. I think just like anything, that's why we named Fridays fast and fast start, furious finish, because so much about the game of football. I mean, the start and the finish, we always treat it as a situation. So you got the ebb and flow of the rest of the game. So yeah, I mean, there's a number of opportunities. You wish you had some better execution, but yeah, it's they were driving there at the end of the third, into the fourth for the score. But yeah, it's a very disappointing loss.
Clarence, so forward, Star Telegram. We talked often about the culture in the locker room and the right kind of guys. Were you worried about when Mike calls out his teammates, said there was no accountability, and Dalton says guys didn't have the right cleats in? I don't know if you guys talked about any of that today.
Well, I'm not in touch with the quotes you're talking about, but I'll just say this. I mean, I don't know what the hell you'd want us to be talking about in the locker room. I mean, we definitely weren't in there patting each other on the back. I mean, there was a ton of red ass, ton of disappointment, a lot of anger, and that's, I think that points to the commitment, the desire to win, the connection. So there's a lot said between a number of people, and I love that. Conflict is good, so that's how you resolve.
Last week, we talked about Mike McCarthy's return to Green Bay and what it meant for him to face his former team. This week, it's all about Anthony Barr, who makes his way back to Minnesota, where he spent 8 seasons as a linebacker for the Vikings. So what's on his mind ahead of the game? And is he feeling ready to suit up?
What's been the most challenging part of working through this hamstring injury?
I mean, I've had my fair share. This is nothing from what I've been through far worse. So it's about taking care of myself, staying on top of things, and I'll be fine.
I know the big conversation this week has been the Cowboys' run defense and just being able to stop the run, especially after back-to-back games. Where do you see the most improvement needs to be?
Just doing our jobs. I think individually, trying not to do too much. I think sometimes we know we have a lot of talent on the defense side of the ball, and a lot of guys try to make the play that might not be their play to make. And that one guy out of position here kind of causes a big seam, and that you kind of see what happened last weekend. So we're still a very confident group, man. We're still a very good defense, and we're looking forward to kind of erasing that taste out of our mouths from last week.
What would it mean to you to get a sack on your former player?
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. They're doing a good job protecting him this year, so whoever gets to him, I'll be happy. Affect him a little bit, and hopefully he'll throw us one.
Last one for me. Sunday, how much of that was a reality check for you guys, or as a reset point for you guys coming off of the bye into that second half?
I mean, I think our reality is whatever we make it. I think we've done a good job of putting ourselves in position to be successful this year. Took a step back a little bit last week, but it's a good learning experience, man. Adversity is good. You don't want it to really happen, but when it happens, man, you got to embrace it, try to come back on top.
You heard Anthony talk about getting to the quarterback. Well, that shouldn't be an issue for this Dallas pass rush. Kirk Cousins has been dropped 20 times this season, and with the way this team likes to play, you might want to start getting familiar with that turf. But first, Dallas has to shore up that run defense. When we come back, we hit the sticks to break down how to break down Dalvin Cook.
Cowboys Rewind is brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys got back to work on Wednesday with the run defense on everyone's mind. Dallas has allowed a combined 447 total rushing yards in the last 2 games and will have to contain one of Minnesota's most productive members of the offense, Dalvin Cook, who, by the way, is averaging 5 yards per carry this season to go along with 6 total rushing scores. For more on how to contain the Vikings' balanced offense, we hear from Isaiah Standback, Barry Church, and Kyle Yeomans on Hit Sticks.
So let's take a look at the ground game. One of the big trouble spots for this Cowboys defense throughout the season, and Dalvin Cook is certainly somebody you've got to keep an eye on. You've got Kirk Cousins at quarterback, and oh, by the way, just this man out here on the edge, Justin Jefferson. It doesn't get much easier for the Cowboys. So, BC, where do you start in trying to slow down this Minnesota ground attack because they're so balanced overall?
Yeah, they're extremely balanced. You just mentioned some of the weapons they had, but that man in the backfield, Dalvin Cook, he is a grown man back there, one of the best running backs in the National Football League. So this defense has got to have their eyes on number 4 right there. But as we talk about this offense, what a lot of offenses are doing to this defense right now is they're trying to get to the perimeter. We saw Green Bay have a great plan as far as getting to the perimeter and capturing the edge against this defense. So they're pulling guards out there, they're pulling tackles and making sure that they can get that edge secured. So what they have to do, to me, to combat that is you have to get penetration. Those defensive linemen, whether they're interior guys or those second-level guys, LVE, Anthony Barr, Jabril Cox, whoever seems to be at that second level, they have to be able to get penetration to pick off those pulling guards, to pick off those pulling tackles, to make sure our guys on the edge can set an edge and force Dalvin Cook back into the lineup, back into the teeth of this defense. To me, that's what it comes down to, and we're going to try our hardest to contain that man, Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, the word there was try.
Yeah.
Because you got a dog in there, and then they went out there and added another dog offensively in Hawkinson, okay? Oof. So he's another threat that you have to be concerned about, not only in the running game, but if they decide to go play action. And then what does it also coming out in a formation like this do? It isolates Justin Jefferson out there as well, okay? So you have a lot of things that you need to be concerned about as a Dallas Cowboys defense. But as you mentioned, those pulling guards, those pulling tackles, that's something that has been apparent in schemes going against Dallas Cowboys over the past few weeks. Back-to-back 200-yard games on the ground, and you best believe Minnesota's going to try to make it 3.
Without a doubt. Let's see what we can do. Okay, all right, pulling action. Downhill.
Ooh.
Downhill.
Can't even feel the gap. I was showing up about to hit that outside.
You thought you would.
Hold on. So listen up. This is exactly what Mr. DCBC was talking about. You guys see right off the back, okay, that we have these guards that are going to be pulling, okay? So right here, I'm going to snap the ball. Boom. As soon as you see that, okay, as a linebacker, you know right now, come downhill. Y'all see that natural gap in between there, in between the A and the B gap? Shoot that hole. That's the disruption that Barry's talking about. If you don't shoot that hole, look what can happen. You are going to allow this man to get to the outside with numbers, okay? But because of the fact that you shot the hole, run it back real quick, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and switch it to Mr. Barr here, who we hope to have back. All right, boom, we're going to rotate that around. Boom, this is exactly how he's going to see it. Boom, so right here, as soon as Barr sees that guard pull, what do?
Right downhill.
Come straight downhill, disruption. You see Kirk Cousins back, try to run straight through his back, right, DC?
No, without a doubt.
So right here, boom, disruption. That's exactly what you want, party in the backfield. Don't allow him to get going, because if he does, then you have to worry about all the other weapons that they have offensively.
And what I loved about that clip the most, there was no leaky yardage. Once he hit him at the point of attack, he went right down where he stood. That's what we got to get back to as a defense, tackling extra physical, and we're going to need that physicality against a guy like Cook.
Cook isn't the only weapon Dallas will have to contend with. In fact, the whole team seems to be clicking at the right time. For more on that, we check in with the gals on Girls Talk, Boys Talk, who spoke with Vikings team reporter Tatum Everett to get some insight on their opponent.
Why do you think Kirk Cousins is playing as well as he is this year, Tatum?
You know, Jane, it's funny that you say that, because if you look at his stats, it's really not one of his better seasons. I think that he is just feeling understood by this coaching staff. His history with Kevin O'Connell has really allowed him to have open dialogue between the two of them. They meet weekly. Kirk knows these plays. He's been in a West Coast offense for a while now. And I think he just this coaching staff trusts him, and I think he therefore trusts himself. And the bond between the players and Kirk has become so strong that it's almost like he bets on himself more. I feel like he knows he's more comfortable. But it's funny because, like, you know, statistically, it's not been his best, right? But, I mean, sometimes it doesn't matter. Like, it goes to show you that, like, quarterbacks obviously make a huge difference. But in this case, it's just been a total team effort. Gosh, I feel like a coach saying that. But, like, it's been, like, every facet of the game they've not played a full, complete game. I mean, I would argue the Bills game might be the closest to the Packers game week 1. But they're still chasing that, like, game where everything just checks off because they put us through, you know, like the ringer every week with these one-score games. You never know which way it's going to go, but you just can't count them out either.
Cousins is completing nearly 65% of his passes with 14 total touchdowns. He's led the Vikings to an 8-1 record and will be a challenge for the Dallas defense. But when we come back, we'll trade places. Coming up next on Cowboys Rewind, how CeeDee Lamb's continued improvement can help the offense in today's game.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
CeeDee Lamb is coming off of one of the best games in his career. 11 receptions for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. The first time this season he's hit the century mark. Lamb is now just 1 score shy of moving into 3rd all-time in touchdown receptions through his first 3 seasons of his career. But instead of celebrating his accomplishments last week, Lamb is instead trying to figure out how he can be even better this week for his team.
How much extra time have you guys gotten this week when we talk about the importance of timing into some of those reps?
Very important. Spend a lot of time on it. Everything I feel like is mental at this point because obviously the physical things I feel like we're in tune with. But mentally, once we get on the same page, all 11 or whoever's out there, you know, I feel like it's going to be better for all of us.
CeeDee, when y'all talk about complementary football, you can't keep the other team from running the ball, but the defense has allowed 200-plus rushing yards the last 2 games. How important can an early lead be for y'all in forcing the other team into some passing situations to help the D?
I feel like regardless of the situation, we got to go out there and play complementary football. It's not really pointing anybody out. It's just going out there and handling business. And I feel like as far as getting the plays done, or rather it's defense stopping the run or us getting in the end zone, because at first that was a problem, but now obviously I feel like no one's saying that, saying nothing about that. So once we get the problem fixed, I feel like it'll act like it never happened.
Statistically, that was your. Was there a level of accountability that you hadn't yet seen this year?
Was there? No. Everyone took blame or fault for the game. There's everything. I mean, everyone in that game felt like they left the play out there. I know for sure I did. Regardless of the stats or how they look, I know that I could have played a lot better mentally, physically, and emotionally. So just being out there, just being better for the next following week, we got to go out there and win some more games.
CeeDee won't be alone this week, though. He'll likely be joined by Ezekiel Elliott for the first time in 2 weeks, who's been working back from a knee injury that happened against the Lions. It's no secret Mike McCarthy favors a 2-back system and has spoke regularly about the impact Zeke makes when he's on the field. But how does he feel ahead of kickoff?
Is this since you've had the injury, is this the best you felt about your ability to play this week at this stage of the week leading up to it, or is there still more you need to see?
Yeah, I'm definitely very optimistic about this week. Barring any setbacks next couple of days, I think I feel good. Like you said, I felt as good as I've felt since the injury this early in the week, and I think I'm in a good spot.
Do you think playing with a brace is something that you would do this Sunday, or would you be able to go without?
Yeah, I'm going to be braced up.
Mike said earlier today that with your knee, it wasn't so much that it was giving you issues during practice, it was after the fact. Was that just some tightness, some soreness, or what was that?
Yeah, it was just, I felt cool at practice, but it just was like, those days after that work, just tightness, sore, just a lot of discomfort. So we decided that, it just was, smart to give it one more week. Just didn't want to let the weeks that I took off already go in vain. So, yeah.
In Zeke's absence, Tony Pollard has done a tremendous job of carrying the load. He's had back-to-back 100-plus yard games and tallied at least one rushing touchdown in those two matchups. The last Cowboys player with 3 consecutive 100-yard games and a rushing score, none other than Ezekiel Elliott back in 2018. Time for another quick break, but we're back on Cowboys Rewind with one of the most consistent kickers in the NFL this season. Brett Maher has been on quite the journey in his 5-year NFL career, traveling across the country and even over country lines to play the game he loves. He's had quite the season in 2022 with 15 made field goals on 17 attempts, but I wanted to know more about the kicker as he joined me on 1st and 10 to talk football, family, and fashionable footwear. I kind of just want to start right where we are right now. You're halfway through year 5 of your NFL career. How has the season been going for you so far?
I think it's been pretty solid to this point. We've had a lot of positives on special teams. I feel like I'm part of that also. Had a little bit of a transition there with Jake getting hurt, and Matt's done a great job coming in, filling in, and him and Brian and I feel like we're really getting in a nice little groove. So hopefully we can keep that moving as we make a little run here.
I feel like kicking is one of those positions where it can make or break a game. A lot of pressure gets put on kickers sometimes. How do you deal with that pressure, or do you feel pressure at all?
I think, yes, I feel pressure. Leaning into that and enjoying that kind of responsibility is the way that I try to attack that situation. There are kicks that are bigger than other kicks. There are moments that are bigger. Understanding that and leaning into that and really trying to take advantage of those opportunities. To the same token, though, you don't know how the rest of the game is going to shake out, which means that your first quarter extra point or your first quarter field goal may end up being very, very important as we get late into the game as well. So dialing in every single kick and understanding different situations as well.
You mentioned some of those big moments. You actually have a few of the NFL's longest kicks in history.
Here's the try. It is good! Maher from 62.
Is there a different approach to those type of kicks, or what's it like setting up for something like that?
Those are a lot of fun for me to go out there, and it's almost a little bit like showing off and swing as hard as you can and and try to put it through. But anytime we're within a certain range where I feel like I don't have to overswing on a ball, then you go out there and you keep your process the same and you expect to make every single one.
What's the relief like when one of those goes through the uprights?
I wouldn't say there's a lot of relief. I think it's more excitement, kind of lose yourself in where you are in that moment. But yeah, they're fun.
Always a good time getting to know these guys a little bit better. One more break for you here on Cowboys Rewind. When we return, the Cowboys took a little time to share a Thanksgiving meal with some special fans. Sometimes it's good to get away from the game, especially after an overtime loss to a conference rival. And this week, the Cowboys did just that by getting back in the community. The team once again partnering with the Salvation Army of North Texas to celebrate an early Thanksgiving with those in need. The Cowboys split into 2 groups to provide food and fellowship to nearly 600 people, with the rookies in Fort Worth and the veterans in Dallas. Not only was it a chance for the players to reconnect with the community, but also give an opportunity to gain a new perspective.
We know how much support we have in this city from everyone, and to have an opportunity to come out here when we haven't the last couple of years and kind of connect with some people in our community and show our support it's a great feeling for us coming out of the building, spending time with each other outside of the facility in our community.
I feel like anytime I come to do this, you know that you're coming to have an impact, but I don't think the people ever realize the impact that they have on me and that they have on all of us. As you just said, just showing their support, their unconditional support, and just their belief. And as you said, just hearing them say it from up top, or just when I'm passing out things, dapping them off, and just continuing for them to be saying motivating words to us it's awesome, and that's what this is about, and that's why I encourage anyone that has the platform and ability to give back to make sure that you do that, because it's very rewarding for you as well.
The only thing that would make the holiday season even brighter, a win on Sunday to kick off Thanksgiving week. Dallas trying to make it 4 in a row at US Bank Stadium and give Mike McCarthy his 150th regular season victory. That'll do it for us here on Cowboys Rewind. But if you're looking for some extra Cowboys content or more on this matchup, you can head to our website, DallasCowboys.com, to get you ready for kickoff. I'm Haley Sutton. We'll see you next week.
Cowboys Rewind was brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. SWBC Mortgage. Join the more than 120,000 customers that we've helped to find their happier way home. Visit SWBCmortgage.com to find a pro today. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.